Greetings. I'm Ron Byler, Executive Director of MCC US, and I want to thank you for all of the ways that you have contributed to keeping MCC's ministries strong and vibrant for these 100 years. You've played some key roles in this history. In MCC's centennial year, we chose this text from 2 Corinthians 5. God reconciles himself to us through Christ. God gave us the ministry of reconciliation. This is a constant reminder for us of what God has done for us through Jesus and what we are called to do through him as well. MCC's centennial year really began about a year ago when we took our boards, MCC Canada and MCC US, to Zaporozhye, Ukraine, where MCC began 100 years ago. We visited the former Jacob Dick lumberyard in Khortytsa, the likely site of that very first Mennonite feeding station of the American Mennonite relief effort on March 16, 1922. It took 3 tries for Mennonites to get food into Ukraine. War and famine devastated Ukraine. Mennonites from there wrote to us, "Dear brothers, help us. We are perishing. The famine is raging more and more, and suffering is increasing daily. Every day we must see starving." We told the stories of how this ministry of the churches in North America began. A.J. Miller recounts the sight that greeted him at the Zaporozhye train station in 1922. The moment the train halted, it was besieged by living skeletons. Not with a rush did they come, but slowly, weakly, too starved to hurry, too famished to demand, muttering that one sentence that was being wailed despairingly by millions in Russia: bread. In God's name, bread. We reenacted what those meals must have looked like. By June 1922, 25,000 people were fed every day in dozens of villages across Ukraine, consisting of bread, hot cocoa, and porridge. One survivor wrote, "We would have died, starved to death. But then the Mennonites came, sent us people and food. In this way, we stayed alive," writes A.J. Miller. Bread, just bread. It came miraculously from faraway America, from friends they had never seen or known, from someone who wished them well. It was love reaching out its strong hands across oceans and plains, across the waters, and across continents. And this ministry continues today with the Mennonite Brethren churches in Ukraine. Maxim Oliferovsky is the pastor of one of the churches and a partner of MCC in their New Hope Center. The center works with families in crisis and children from broken homes. Maxim started a church for these families, God's Family Church, so that, as he says, God can do his work of healing broken hearts. Another partner is the Zaporozhye Baptist Union, who distributes material aid to vulnerable people in the region, including displaced people and others lacking resources, including ex-prisoners. Vadim Proshak is the pastor and director of the union. And he says, "We want people to have a chance in life, and we couldn't do what we do without MCC's help." In their warehouse, we saw cans of meat, comforters, and hygiene kits. Anna and her 3 children are displaced from their homes, and they receive rent assistance and canned meat through MCC. Anna shares how she portions out the meat to make it last just as long as possible. New Life Charitable Foundation in Nikopol is one of our longest, strongest partners in Ukraine. New Life works to improve the living conditions of people who are HIV infected, ex-prisoners, homeless people, and others who are disenfranchised. This is a displaced couple. She's a government official. He's an engineer, living in temporary housing with MCC support. New Life helps provide rent assistance, food packages, and hygiene kits to the thousands of internally displaced people in the region. We helped celebrate Peter's birthday. This couple has a severely disabled daughter, and they really didn't want to move from their home in the conflict zone. But the day finally came when the shellings hit their house 3 times, and they had to retreat to the basement. And when they were able to come back up out of the basement, all that greeted them above was the sky, because the roof had been entirely blown away. Last November, I was in Nepal visiting our partners there. Nepal is a beautiful country. But 5 years ago, an earthquake hit Nepal, and hundreds of thousands of people were left homeless. MCC was able to respond by helping to rebuild houses. MCC raised more than $3 million for earthquake recovery to respond with immediate emergency relief for 4,000 families and to work at longer-term home reconstruction. We're just finishing up our 5-year reconstruction plan, building 200 houses in the village of Nalu. We met Shante and Krishna here on the right of this photo, and they told me when the earthquake came, we ran to find a place to hide. Our house collapsed, and it was a day or so before any help at all came. And when we asked Krishna how his family managed to survive after the earthquake, he said that MCC was part of, in Nepali, Arma Parma, everyone helping each other in the traditional way. Earlier this year, in January, MCC celebrated its centennial in Nigeria. Justina Nwobia is an MCC advisory committee member, and she said that MCC is like Psalm 19. There are no words, yet their voice goes out into all the earth. Their words to the ends of the world. MCC has empowered us. What you have done speaks volumes. You make sure people who have no voice can be heard. The Great Winter Warm-Up was an awesome public beginning to our centennial year on January 18. I was able to participate in 2 events in eastern Pennsylvania of the more than 100 across North America. Our goal was to complete 6,500 comforters, and despite the bad weather in some locations, we were able to complete 9,500 comforters. This is the MCC Centennial event in February at Tabor College in Kansas, where that first delegation of Mennonites from Ukraine visited 100 years ago. Then came March and COVID-19. The coronavirus changed a lot of our plans for celebrating our centennial, but it didn't change our mission of sharing God's love and compassion for all in the name of Christ, nor our ministry of reaching out and responding to basic human needs and working for peace and justice. 2 years ago, I joined MCC India's staff for their celebration of the 75th anniversary of MCC in India. This is our staff and partners in India at that time. Bishop Shant Kunjam of Mennonite Church India told the gathering that MCC was born of the same impulse of the early Anabaptists to share their food with the hungry. Dr. John Oman, Deputy Medical Director of the Christian Hospital in Odisha, an MCC partner, told the story of Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. And he said that MCC, through these 75 years, is serving and washing the feet of the world. We heard from many beneficiaries of MCC programs. Many years ago, this young woman was in an orphanage and was sponsored by MCC to attend school and to get an education. Today, she's a legal rights advocate and lawyer working in the area of human trafficking. I visited an MCC project in West Bengal, where MCC was working with its partner in 2 villages on a flood relief project. And that project has led to other projects in education and microfinance and health and sanitation and access to water and housing. In the Sundarban, a very remote part of India, southeast of Calcutta, and where the cyclone hit recently, I visited with these women who proudly displayed their certificates for training in sewing. Their new skills will help them earn money to feed their children and to send them to school. Through these 100 years, Virginia Conference has played some key roles in MCC's history. The first mobile cannery was set up in Harrisonburg, Virginia in 1946. It was built at the request of the Mennonite Church the year before and was given to MCC in 1952. In a typical year, almost 30,000 volunteers in 30 sites help can 750,000 cans of meat, which MCC ships to people in need in countries like Ethiopia and North Korea and Haiti. Several years ago, Cal Redicop and Paul Peachy were recognized for their work in starting MCC's PACS program, which eventually influenced the formation of the US Peace Corps. The MCC PACS program was an alternative service option for conscientious objectors drafted into US military service from 1951 to 1975. About 1,200 men eventually served in 40 countries around the world. And this is Glenn Showalter of Broadway, Virginia, serving in Greece in the early 60s. During World War II, Virginia Mennonites were instrumental in the civilian public service camps in Grottoes and Luray. The woman in the middle of this photo is Mary Emma Showalter, who joined CPS Camp 4 in Grottoes voluntarily. She says the camp was the door that opened up her professional life. And she, of course, later became known for publishing the Mennonite Community Cookbook. 100 years of ministry together. Because of what God did through Jesus for us, we serve in the name of Christ. Your scripture text says it this way: as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Later, we'll talk about MCC's ministries today and how we're responding to COVID-19 and what some of our directions are for the future. Grace and peace to you.